over the next few minutes, I'm going to be showing you how I would recreate this super cool design and turn it into some nail art. This design was actually found by our social media manager, Jess. So she looks for non-nail art inspiration to share on our Instagram page at Monaco Nail Academy every day. And this one really caught my eye, so I thought it would make for a super fun video. Make sure to pop over and give a like or a follow to the original poster of this design and give them some support as well. We're going to start like we often do with Colour Gloss in Bride, the brightest white that they have in their gel polish range. Two coats each cured for 30 seconds, and yes, I'm just covering up that gel paint mistake that I made in the last video. I'm dipping my brush, dampening it with monomer, and then dipping straight into Tearjerker and then straight into Ocean and working them together on the nail. I want it denser in the two corners and a lot more subtle through the middle. The more monomer I add, the more it will disperse and give those sort of watercolory vibes. I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. Total fluke. I mean, I guess it's sort of an educated guess because I know my products well, but I don't know them well enough to know that they're definitely going to do what I think they're going to do every single time I try something new. So I'm really glad it worked, and it probably worked a bit better than expected. I think the colors came out really close to the original inspiration image, and I think the effect of the shimmer from Tearjerker with the brightness of Ocean looks really, really cool. I'm going over this with a layer of bonding gel, which I've talked about before. I prefer painting over bonding gel, so although it's technically a base coat, it should be applied really thin, and I don't apply it that thin when I use it like this, so it does affect the soak off time. Next time this client comes in, it will take a bit longer to take off her nails. Not crazy long, but you just want to remember that you need a couple extra minutes for soak off next time. I should have waited a little bit longer when doing this nail. The pigment wasn't quite dry because of the thicker areas where I'd done it, so I had to play with it a little bit to get our design back on track. That's your lesson to learn from me, is to wait a little bit longer when your pigment application is thick. But now we have that base coat layer and we can go on to do the other elements. The next layer is that gold, and there are a few ways that we could do this. I think the easiest way is to use some gold foil. If you watch every week, you know I'm waiting for proper gold. I have this rose gold that we can use today. Another option would be to use gold pigment. This is metallic gold from just the metallic collection. There's just two random metallic pigments that live on their own. Metallic gold I think would look really cool using monomer again to disperse, and it wouldn't affect the layer underneath because we've done that bonding gel layer. You could also use like a metal leaf, like gold leaf, to do the flecks. This is definitely the most fiddly option. I think the one that would look the truest would be using monomer to marble out the pigment. I think the easiest one is the foil, and that's the one I'm going to go for today. So what I've found when trying to get really small flecks with foil, which proved a little bit difficult on a wheel because I discovered quickly that I usually rely on a client to keep their own hands still, is I will hold the foil above the nail and use an artistic stylus tool to just tap on the areas I want. And it doesn't work all the time, but it often does mean that I get little flecks. The other thing that you can do is use your stylus tool to then break up the foil or to even erase parts of it altogether. Now we've got some colour work to do, and I'm choosing to work with gel polish because of its movability. If I were to work with acrylic paint, I wouldn't be able to get the same flick and curving motion that I'm going to be able to get with gel polish. The key here is to dip your brush into the gel polish every time that you want to place like a little, they're like petals, like a little flick down onto the nail, so that you have a little ball of gel at the tip of the brush, and then as you stroke your brush out, you can lift and flick at the same time to get that ball to turn into a little swoosh. Hopefully that makes sense as you're watching it. I'm using Colour Gloss in Determined for the first layer. And Tiki My Fancy for the second layer, which is unfortunately discontinued, but it was too good of a match to pass up. So you could probably make your own color very similar to this. I'm thinking with Chill and a little bit of Bride. You might need a little bit more blue, like Determined, to just blue it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna go the cheats way and use an old bottle of Tiki My Fancy. Of course, you'll be very happy to know that I clipped that annoying stray hair from my brush while the nail was curing. Trust me guys, I'm happy too. Now there are some lighter blue flecks sitting on their own, but a lot of these flecks actually overlap the darker blue. So I'm going to aim to do a lot of overlap. But I'm not trying to be too precise with it. I want the darker blue to still show through quite a lot. Now I think we could get away with finishing this with just normal glossing gel, the gel top coat, but I am going to go for my trusty correction gel once again, just because if you have a look at the nail closely, it's a little uneven, I guess, like just where we've got those balls of gel turning into flecks, and I want the nail to be really even and smooth so that the client doesn't spend the next 2 weeks playing with it and getting agitated by it being kind of 3D. So correction gel will even that out for us. And after curing for 30 seconds, of course I'll be finishing with glossing gel, which is the artistic top coat formulated for lots of shine, as opposed to correction gel, which is formulated for strength. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I think the one thing I would change about it is to space it out a little bit more. I think each element of the design I'm really happy with, and then it's all a little bit too crowded for my liking, so I would space it out more if I were to redo it on a client, which I hope I get to do because I think it's really pretty. Now it's over to you. If you spot something that you'd love me to recreate in a video, tag me at Monaco Nail Academy on social media, and bonus points if it's not nails. I love creating nail art from something that wasn't originally intended to be nail art. Before you disappear and do that though, please like this video. It really does make a difference to the number of people that can see it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you've made it this far, then I'll see you in the next video.